Okay, good evening. It is Saturday at almost 11 o'clock at night, and this is the first edition of the Witching Hour with me, your host, James Cleary, and my special guest for tonight, Justin.
Hey guys, how you been? How you doing? And welcome.
And yeah, well, you say that, and this is already our second taping of this, I guess, because the first one got deleted. So, pretty interesting. But I'm so used to being on the radio because I work on the radio for my school's radio station, WIXQ 90. Not oh geez, it's been so long since I've been on. I can't even remember. Oh, this is embarrassing. I hope none of my the guys listen to this. 91.7 The Ville. There we go. But I'm on the radio down in Lancaster, and I'm doing something there that I'm not something I don't know anyone has done yet. But I have a paranormal talk show kind of on my radio station, on the radio station I work with, and it's something I wanted to do at home. So here I am, my first episode of the Witching Hour, my paranormal podcast, coming to you live from my kitchen. And I'm hoping every week I can have a new one up with a new guest and a new topic. That being said, tonight's topic is something I know a good deal about, and that's the Black-Eyed Kids. Now, I gotta give props to a podcast I listen to, and one I hold dear to my heart, and that's Beyond the Darkness. I'm giving them, the guys from that podcast, total props, and hoping I don't get sued because I just brought up their name. But they're great. I would listen to them. That's where I got the idea for a paranormal podcast. Yeah, so for the third time in a row, this is the Witching Hour, and let's get right into the Black-Eyed Kids. I'm a little nervous because, well, it's the first time I've done this, which I shouldn't be because
Take a chill pill, cuz.
I shouldn't be nervous though because I've been on the radio, man. This is a podcast. No one's listening to it live, but it's different.
Saturday Night Live?
Yeah, Saturday Night Live.
Oh wow. That's ironic.
So what are the Black-Eyed Kids? Well, actually, you know what? Before we even
Are
get
they like the Black Eyed Peas, James?
Yes, they are just like the Black-Eyed Peas. Every time I mention the Black-Eyed Kids, that joke gets made. But before we even get right into that, Justin, your views. What are they on the paranormal? Yes, no, maybe so. Skeptical, and
I don't believe that there are ghosts, all that, because I haven't felt it, I haven't seen it. If I could see something happen paranormal, that would make me a believer. I believe firmly in
seeing is believing. Okay, that's cool. You know, you got to keep that. You got to keep that that mindset when it comes to the paranormal. Me, you know, I haven't experienced. I can't say I haven't experienced anything because I think I have, but
acid trips don't count, James.
Yeah, no drugs were involved. But you know, it's like I felt things, and I think I've seen things and heard things, but you can't always be sure. So it's almost like maybe, but I'm definitely into the paranormal, and I'm open to those things happening.
I can respect that.
So, okay, how about like stuff like aliens?
All right. Aliens, let's just be honest. I don't think that's even a possibility right now to even bring that into anything because, like, if there were aliens, I think more people would have saw them and would have been documented and had definite proof of it already, where we have some nut in a tinfoil cap probably going around saying, they probed me in 1947.
Well, see, oh man, you know, I'm gonna reference. I think Little Dicky said it the best in his most recent rap, Pillow Talk. You know, how come life is only under your feet? of the whole universe, life cannot only be on Earth. Life cannot only be on Earth, and it's far fetched, and they're not. They're probably not the little green men. They're not the Greys and all that kind of thing. But
they're the Groots.
Not the Groots. Okay, we're gonna get sued by every company out there. But hey, at least when Lil Dicky sues me, I can say, "Hey, Lil Dicky sued me." But
and that was not a shot at the Marvel or Guardians of the Galaxy. Groot is my fave.
Okay, but but seriously, like of all the planets in the universe and all the openness, life is only on Earth, and that thought is just absurd. So I'm open to the idea of life on other planets. Now it's probably not the little green man flying through space, abducting cows and dissecting things, but you never know. I'm open to it. The truth is out there. No.
Oh man.
Scully.
Oh gosh.
But so now that we know where you stand on the paranormal, and it's always good to have a skeptic involved when we talk about these stories, especially something like the Black Eyed Kids, which is there's no photographic evidence. There's never been photographic evidence, not at least not that I've seen. And if you listen to
not real,
you
what
don't
we're saying.
You believe in God, right? You got a photo of him, but he's real to you, right? And I'm playing devil's advocate, of course. And I'm not poking fun at any religion. Anyone can believe in whatever they want. I don't have a religion. I don't have one. I
practice the religion.
Practice. Okay. Let us all A. But it's like, you can, just because you don't have a photo of something doesn't mean it's not real. Is all I'm trying to say. I respect that you believe in whatever you believe, and let's get off that topic because maybe that was a bad idea bringing that up.
Well, now the church is going to sue us.
Yeah. I should just start taking a list of people that are going to sue me. But basically, what I'm trying to say is what I said. I got off topic because my computer kind of lagged. So basically with the Black Eyed Kids, what they are exactly what they're called. Black Eyed Children, usually young.
Is this like supernatural black eyed people? They're demons?
Yes, they have the black eyes like they would in if you see in a Supernatural or any other paranormal show where you see a demon either taking the form of a person or in a person, they have the black eyes. But they normally take the form of a 3-year-old. It's usually between 3 and 10. And there's usually always 2 of them, a male and a female. And basically, you'll be sitting. Yeah, there you go. You just Wikipedia'd it.
Oh man, that's creepy.
I'm also using a website this guy wrote. The author Ryan Sprague. I don't even know. I'll put the link to it on the YouTube page when I post this. But he wrote the article. I guess it was for Halloween. But what he writes is, imagine sitting in your living room one night, reading a book. You begin to doze off, and the strain of your day slowly fading away as your eyes close. Suddenly, a harsh knock on the front door springs you up, full attention. It's so late, you think to yourself, who could it possibly be? You make your way to the door. You peer out the peephole. There's a dark silhouette of a small figure at your door. Who is this, you think? You open the door assuming this is a child. You're right. But then what you notice first makes your stomach queasy. It's a child, but with black eyes. And that's really what these things, who knows what they are? They're not human. They're not human. And I repeat, maybe one day this will happen to you because it's happened to a lot of people. And, something that nobody knew about up until the one person posted about it online, and then people were like, "Oh man, this happened to other people, not just me." You know, it's like the first time a ghost encounter was reported online. It's freaky. As you hear, our front door is shut and open because my mom decided to make a phone call. But that's not the only scary part to this. As soon as you open the door, the kids don't say anything but, "Can we come in? Let us in."
That's just creepy in general.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wouldn't let a normal-eyed kid in my house at 10 o'clock at night.
Second? That's like a vampire.
Yeah, well, that's how it works.
Weird.
It's vampire rules. You know, they have to be allowed in.
Oh, no.
Nah, yeah, exactly.
If it's like anywhere past 8 o'clock, I'm not catching no charges for no kids coming knock on my door.
It's not even that. It's, you know, who in general knocks on your door at 10 p.m.? You know, it's 11:30 at night, knock on your door, open up, can I have a cup of sugar? You know, these kids want to come in your house. And, you know, I've never heard of a story where the person has let them in their house. Actually, I have. I've heard one, and the person that let them in was then found dead the next day.
So what he's saying, people, is when you open the door up and it's one of these things, make sure you got something heavy with you, a hammer, a gun.
No. Well, no, it doesn't work like that. From all the stories I've read, if a black-eyed kid knocks on your door, you know, you'll open it up and they'll ask to be let in. You know, vampire rules. Let us in. Can we use your phone? We need to call our mom. We're lost. And, you know, most of the time, if it's a kid, you're gonna be like, "Oh my God, yes, let me let you in." But all the people that see these kids, you know, they don't get that, "Oh, why are you alone?" feeling. They get that it's
maternal, fraternal.
No. It's not a maternal feeling for women. It's that bubbly, anxious, primal fear in the pit of your stomach that they feel. The total opposite of what you'd expect when it comes to a child. You know, they get this scared, disgusted kind of fight or flight feeling. And that's usually when they get that feeling is when they notice the black eyes. And they're going to keep saying, can we come in? Let us in. Please let us in. But no matter what you say, it's always wrong. You know, "Oh, let me shut the door. Wait here. I'll go get the phone." No, they won't take that for an answer. Could this be an urban legend? Of course it can. And it probably is. But urban legends don't... Or they do spread like this, but so many stories and eyewitness accounts have stemmed from this. And it could be some kid sitting behind his desktop at home chuckling to himself as he posts on Reddit about how he's really a 40-year-old woman and he's seeing these things. But they kind of... They joined the ranks of Dogmen and Bigfoot and Nessie because so many people have seen these things, but there's no proof. There's no hard evidence of these things. And it's not real until it happens to you. You know, like getting struck by lightning or attacked by a shark. It doesn't happen unless it happens until it happens to you.
And you don't think of that being a natural occurrence. Like you're not. You go to the beach. You're like, "Oh, I'm just gonna have fun," and then a shark attacks you. 1 out of 100 chance. Now this,
it's a lot more than a 1 in 100 chance, but you know,
million
but it's happened to a lot of people, And, they probably would have said the same thing, it's not real. And then it happened to them.
And it's kind of mind-boggling because I don't really believe in children doing this. First off, we live in a nice community area. You don't see kids out during the night like that. If you do, the parents are nearby. So you would see the parents. But it's kind of creepy to think kids are coming knocking on your door. To me, I'm kind of a nut. I'd probably have a gun with me because I'd be scared of some kid trying to break in to attack or something. I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable with the fact that it would be a group of kids or just one kid coming to my door and then have these piercing black eyes. No.
Oh, sorry about that. Anyway, so at least for this segment, since, it's still my first podcast and I'm not really sure where I'm going to go, how to handle each episode. I might handle each episode a little differently. Right now, I got some Black-Eyed Kids encounters that I've found, and I've read these before on my radio show, but I'm going to read them again here because it's a little easier because I've already read them once. They are now. I will give you the not background, but the warning that I have found these online. Could be wrong, fake, could be true. As of anything like this you read online, there's more of a chance it's fake than it is real. But doesn't make the stories any less creepy or less spooky. So the website I found these on is called Thought Catalog, and each one has the writer's handle, and I'm guessing this is Reddit or something. But I'll give you the name of it and their handle before I read it, so I give everyone full credit. This one, we'll start off a short one. It's called They Just Stared by Freelancer47. This one time in early 2010, I was walking home from work and found myself escorting a young lady to her car. She asked me to escort, and hoping I'd talk her into a drink or two. I had already had a few myself. I'd get a number or possibly get laid that night. Yeah, go Freelancer. I'm not going to lie, she was kind of hot. Oh, Freelancer. No shit, though. She looked scared. Well, you say all that, Freelancer, and then you say that. This just turned... I feel like I'm about to get...
Bad joke.
No, not even a bad joke. I just feel like I'm about to get the intro to Law and Order.
Dun, dun.
Dun, dun. I kept walking with her, and I was trying to at least coax her out of her what she was so worried about. So he was trying to figure out what was wrong with her. And I'm reading these as is, so there's a lot of spelling errors I gotta read through. She would only comment, say, some really creepy looking kids who were following her. Being is we were in downtown Seattle area, we could amount to anything. This could have amounted to anything. Jeez. So we kept walking and talking. I kept looking behind us to see if the little kids were in tow. Nothing popped out of the ordinary. But she grabbed my arm really hard and whispered, "That's them. They're about a half a block in front of us, just standing there looking at her." So I do the prudent thing to do, which was to cross the street. I make sure I lock eyes with the big one, and I keep in mind once I get the lady to her car that I'd give them an earful about being a couple little shits for scaring a lone woman into a metropolitan area. Oh, Freelancer, man. Big, tough guy. I didn't get scared or anything, but I did notice something strange. They didn't break eye contact with me. Mind you, I don't look like the kind of guy you want to F with. Honestly, it's an unconscious front since I'm a bit shy. Jeez. I've read these all before, and I still can't read. My look reminds people of either a skinhead or a club bouncer. Why not both? The black tanker boots and Van Dyke mixed with the above don't make me look like a people person either. People break eye contact with me constantly. These two kids didn't. That was a red flag for me. I finally get this woman to her car and she said thanks, and I made sure to tell her where the local police station was. The Seattle PD West Precinct was about 5 blocks from where we were at. Is that the end of it? Oh, I guess that's the end of it. not a good story. But Lancer, whatever you think you saw, could have just been some creepy kids, because you didn't even say they had black eyes. So,
They could have been just common thugs.
Yeah, common thugs. Oh, all these stories are so long. I'm just gonna read whatever the next one is that pops up. Okay, no, you won't be calling anybody. Hammer hands. Is this a SpongeBob reference? No, that's Anchor Arms. The incident took place about 13 years ago. I was just moving to a new city with my wife. We were a small town newlyweds from the Midwest. We moved across country to one of the biggest cities in the Southwest. Oh man, hiccups during a podcast, not a good mix. So I could attend graduate school. Being naive to the new city living, I had habitually answered the door without a second thought. Never again after this. You live in the Southwest, and you like to answer your door no matter what. First thing that should tip me off was the peculiar. It was peculiar that the situation was peculiar. Jeez, I can't read, let alone talk. Someone was knocking at 6 in the morning. The second thing that should have dawned on me is the kid had to reach over a rather tall patio gate to unlatch to open it. The knock at the door was startling. My wife and I were getting ready for work, a pretty normal routine. The moment I opened the door, I was overtaken with an inexplicable sense of fear. There it is, that primal feeling I was talking about. To this day, I can picture him. Teenager, average height, average build, knee-length black leather coat, short black hair, and sunglasses. Sunglasses at 6 a.m. struck me as odd, and even more odd, he was eating an apple. It's always sunny in Doucheville, so, you always got to have those those glasses. He was very polite and asked if he could come in and warm up. I said no, closed the door, and slid the security chain in place. A moment later, another knock. I opened now chained door, and before I could speak, he asked again if he could come in and warm up. No, I replied, and attempted to close the door. Before the door could shut, he put his hand in and stopped the door on its hinges. He looked directly in my eyes, still wearing his sunglasses, and said, "Can I at least get some ketchup for my apple?" After that, I replied, albeit a little confused, "Get the hell out of here. My wife is calling the police." He takes a moment to let his information sink in, lowers his glasses, revealing eyes as black as obsidian, and says, "No, you won't be calling anyone." At that moment, I forced the door closed, locked it, and called out to my wife. She is scared shitless, hiding in the bedroom, all jacked up on adrenaline. I ripped the curtains back to look out the window next to the door. He's gone. Absolutely no trace of him. I go out on the patio and check the gate. It's still latched from the inside. That was effed up, I think to myself as I turn and enter the house. I notice a half-eaten apple laying on the ground.
Right then, I'm looking for my gun, because that ain't happening.
There's so many things wrong with that story.
And there's inconsistencies everywhere. How to get in? Did he crawl through a window? You would have heard it.
Well, Justin, we don't know what these things are. These things could be demons. They could be ghosts. You don't know. It doesn't. It's not the. How do you get in part that bothers me? What bothers me is the description of him. He's older, to the point where these things aren't usually seen at that old of an age.
Maybe he's the head honcho.
No. What else bothers me? It's not an inconsistency in the story or anything, but it asked him for ketchup for their apple. If these are the type of monsters we're dealing with, I'm gonna
mustard.
I'm gonna end it now, because I don't want any kind of monster like that putting ketchup on anything. I don't like ketchup. Ketchup on apples? No.
Two reds do not make a white.
That is the end right there.
It gets creepy. I'm going to my car. If I don't come back, get the ketchup for him.
I like this one. I've read this one. It's called "He Told Me Never to Agree to Help Them." It's by Bloody Bones. It was a cold October evening, not too far off from Halloween. I remember sitting in my room playing an original... Oh, I have no idea what that word is. Suikoden, Suikoden. People are going to make fun of me for not knowing what that is, not even knowing how to pronounce it, but whatever. The evening was slowly creeping by, so I decided to go to the corner store. It was only 3 blocks. Shouldn't be much trouble, right? During my walk, I see the normal, the occasional person putting up Halloween decorations and kids playing in their yards. But this story is about something far more sinister. I remember seeing 2 teens, about 14, knocking on the door asking to use the phone, which of course I thought was weird because most teens these days have phones. As I keep walking, they stopped and stared at me for a short moment. I felt the blood in my veins chill. I felt so creeped out. I hurried to the next block. The next block seemed fine until I looked behind me and saw the 2 teens were following me. I took off sprinting to the store at this point. I saw the sign for the store and relief washed over me. I opened the doors and I told the cashier about what had happened on the way here. He looked at me slightly creeped out and told me a story about this happening to him in his hometown and how they found him the day he left and they asked for his help. In an emotionless voice, he told me never to agree to help. He told me another story, but at that point I was no longer paying attention because they were standing at the door asking to be let in. The cashier freaked out and locked the door. The teen never seemed to waver or leave. They shouldn't step away from the door, or they wouldn't step away from the door. It had been an hour. The cashier and I ready to fight our way out, but instead he took me out the back, and the one teen came around the back just as the door shut behind us. "Can you help me?" is all he could say. He was closing in on us, and his eyes, they were as black as a starless night. They were peering right into my soul. I couldn't help but gaze into it. The terror. I couldn't remember too much of what had happened next, but I do recall the sound of a struggle. When I came to, the cashier was struggling with both teens. He was calling out for me to help. I ran towards him, grabbed him by the collar, and pulled him toward between the two, and knocking them over in the process. I didn't look back until I was near my house and the cashier was gone, but the teens were still following behind. I ran into my house, closed all the blinds, and turned the music up. I got lucky that day, but I'm not sure how long I can keep out of their grasp. I tried to find the cashier for saving my life that day, but he quit and didn't go back to work after that. And he moved from the city. I'm stopping there because this story is everything that
screams out bullies.
I'm sorry, Bloody Bones, but this story just doesn't sound real because this is the only story I've ever heard where they've struggled and they've fought with people physically. So I'm not trying to myth bust your story or anything, but myth busted.
Now we're just gonna go myth busting.
Yeah. I'll read a few more stories. I think this is starting to get about 30 minutes long. And, I do want to do hour-long podcasts, but this was an impromptu thing. And for my first one, I think a half an hour is pretty settling.
I agree on that.
This one's called Survival Story by Pyrick Lancaster, which is cool because, I go to school in Lancaster. I helped them once. Never, ever, under any circumstances, do it. I'm not sure what they did, but it feels as if they were ripping my soul out. Get really close to you, and you get amazingly drowsy, as if it weren't for my girlfriend showing up mid-invasion and kicking them out, I probably would be dead. I didn't even see the black eyes until I'd let them in. They're getting smarter. I like that one because it's creepy, yeah, but it tells what happens when you let them in. So don't let them in. Final words of advice from your friendly podcast host. But I think that's it for tonight. Like 20, almost 30 minutes. So thanks for listening. This is James Cleary.
And this is Justin Cleary.
And thank you for listening to The Witching Hour. Or in this case, The Witching Half Hour.